When the sour sweet wind blows in Whoville, every who in Whoville feels a chill and huddles indoors in sheer fright, for Halloween is Grinch Night. Battle of the Network shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Battle of the Network shows.
Spooky episode.
What?
It's Halloween.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
There's some disembodied voice saying it was a spooky episode.
Yeah.
Well, it's appropriate, though, because, yes, it's a Halloween episode. Mm-hmm. We've decided to honor the holiday this season by taking a look at a Halloween special of the era.
Yeah. Not quite a listener request, but I remember listener Kevin asking before if we could do other holidays besides the Christmas holiday.
Yes, and the way our season falls, I think his wish will be our command this season.
Yes, that's right.
So I'm Rick here with Mike, and we have an interesting special here. We're going to look at Halloween is Grinch Night, which premiered in 1977, many years after, about 12, 13 years after the Grinch How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And Mike, I did a little informal survey before we decided to do this one, and I find that people really don't remember this at all.
I didn't remember it.
I didn't, and I have. It feels like I should have watched this one. But I don't remember it even after watching it. I don't remember it.
No.
And I sort of looked up and I'm like, this isn't some obscure... I mean, it got a home video release. Mm-hmm. It's been out there. Mm-hmm. It's available on the internet.
Yeah.
But yet it doesn't seem to have really latched on, or the public doesn't seem to have latched on to it.
Yeah. I remember lots of other Dr. Seuss specials.
Yes, as do I. And I actually remember the Cat in the Hat Grinch crossover more than I do this one.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, they did like a team up.
Oh boy.
Where the Cat in the Hat and the Grinch were in the same tuna. That was after this.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's because this one didn't exactly catch on, although it did win. It won an Emmy for Outstanding Children's Program, like a primetime Emmy, not just the daytime Emmys. It seemed to do well at the time, but maybe... It has something to do with Halloween specials in general?
Right. Now, besides Peanuts Halloween, how many other Halloween specials do you remember being on every year?
Not very many.
I know there's a Garfield one.
Yeah.
Which I've heard is really weird.
The Fat Albert one is the one that came to mind.
Yeah. The
Fat Albert Halloween special, I remember. There's a Casper one.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like Halloween has become more of a grown-ups holiday. At least as far as the specials, people associate with, what's going to be the scary movies that are going to be on in October.
Right.
Even TV shows aimed at, adults would have their Halloween-themed episodes, but there just didn't seem to be a lot of memorable Halloween specials. Whereas Christmas ones, we could do 10 seasons worth of Christmas specials, it seems like. But Halloween, it was a little trickier.
Yeah. But if you out there, the listener, know of other Halloween specials, let us know at our website, battleofthenetworkshows.com, or on maybe on our Facebook group, which you can join. It's the Battle of the Network Shows Facebook group.
Yes, and if I may,
yes,
I was curious about, this aired actually on a Saturday, October 29th, to be specific, 1977 at 8 p.m.
2 days before.
Yes, on CBS. And, it was on ABC. It was up against Bob Newhart, and his sitcom, We've Got Each Other was after that. And then on NBC was The Bionic Woman. And so on ABC, they had Halloween is Grinch Night and then an episode of Operation Petticoat. Just a regular episode. So it wasn't like it was a whole night of Halloween.
Right.
So I was curious about this. I was like, well, I wonder what year or what day they showed It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, this year. Because that's the one I remember being on every Halloween, right? Yeah. As you said. Well, so I looked at what else was on that week. And I looked at the other Halloween specials. There was an Addams Family one, or Friday or Thursday before, an Addams Family animated special. There was a Bugs Bunny Halloween special on the Wednesday.
That I kind of remember.
Okay.
Which I think is just compilation kind of stuff. But
Tuesday, there was a Halloween episode of Happy Days, and something called the Fitzpatricks, I think, did a Halloween. It was just some sitcom that didn't last. And then on Monday of that week, there was the Fat Albert Halloween special, and Charlie Brown was also on that Monday night before Halloween. But it was not It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It was It's Your First Kiss, Charlie Brown.
What does that have to do with Halloween?
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, apparently did not air that year. So it was not a Halloween perennial until, I guess, maybe in the 1980s, because I can't remember a Halloween growing up that didn't have it.
But you know what happened? There was some kid who was telling all the other kids, the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, is going to be on.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit here in front of my TV
Right.
until it comes on. And then it never came on.
Yes, the kid was forsaken.
Yeah.
Well, maybe his living room wasn't sincere enough. But I think you might be onto something. But so I thought that was interesting. So maybe it speaks to the general lack of respect, especially in 1977, before everything was commodified as it is today.
Yeah.
Halloween maybe not that big a deal, even for the younger set.
Yeah.
That's where we get, Halloween is Grinch Night, and I think it was rerun, several other times. But as we've said I don't remember it being on every year. It certainly wasn't a perennial favorite or anything.
Yeah. Now, of course, Boris Karloff is not back for this.
He's not, and he's missed, isn't he?
Was he still alive then?
In 1977? I do not know. I don't think so.
Probably not.
I don't think so. He's certainly not available now. Dr. Seuss himself, I guess, did write the teleplay.
Yeah.
And so he was involved rather strongly with the special. So
he died Boris Karloff died in 1969.
Ah, okay.
So Dr. Seuss wrote it. Joe Raposo, who we've mentioned before, from Sesame Street Music and co-writing the Three's Company theme.
Yes.
He did the music.
And it was the DePatie Freeling studio.
Yes.
Was responsible for this.
Yeah.
Not Chuck Jones was
right.
Nowhere to be seen with this one.
No. Can I go ahead and offer my controversial statement?
Yes, please do. We don't pre-do the show. We did not have a pre-meeting, but I have been informed. I've heard through the grapevine that you are prepared to make something that may raise some hackles.
I liked the look of this special more than the Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Ooh, that is
and here's a
bold statement.
Chuck Jones, wonderful. I feel like sometimes he gets too much credit for Looney Tunes, or like Friz Freleng and Bob Clampett, and some of the other directors don't get as much credit.
Mm-hmm.
And I also there's that latter years of Looney Tunes, but then the Grinch, where he has a very specific kind of look.
Yes.
And sometimes I don't like that look, like kind of the way the eyes look, and sort of there's an angular thing that I don't always find appealing.
He has the same look and some same reaction shots and gags that he goes back to time and again.
Yeah. Now he did before he developed that look. Like some of my favorite like oddball Looney Tunes, he did, and I think he was obviously very talented. Not taking away from that, I'm just other people did stuff that was just as good.
Right.
And this I think looks more on model.
I won't argue with that.
Yeah.
As controversial as it is, as despicable as that statement may be to a large segment of our audience,
Right.
I will agree with you. And one thing is, I've always thought that, like, especially this era with Chuck Jones, like he did a animated special based on the comic strip Pogo.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Chuck Jones is he turned everything into a Chuck Jones cartoon, I thought.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like more of a Grinch cartoon than a Chuck Jones cartoon. And
Right.
Probably for the better.
Yeah, I think visually, yeah. And it still is like, it's not like it's not ambitious. I mean, there's a whole sequence we'll talk about that I think is very ambitious, but it's just not as, it's closer to the source, I guess.
Well, that's maybe one of the most shocking things that anyone will hear this Halloween season is that statement. But I respect you for making it and standing by it.
Thank you.
And I will support you.
Yeah. Also, I'm a little more of a fan of Daffy Duck when he was actually Daffy than when he became just like, angry.
Yeah, and like a stooge for...
Yeah, which is the Chuck Jones interpretation of Daffy,
right.
which is very funny, but
right.
then you see some of those earlier ones, and he's causing just as much mayhem as bugs, if not more.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Yeah.
We'll have to generate some arguments.
Yeah.
Maybe we might have another controversial issue that maybe we'll disagree on later.
Okay. I'm curious about that. Well, what did you? So Hans Conried fills in for Boris Karloff. Hans Conried did a lot of voiceover work and I guess on-camera work too. And his most famous is Captain Hook in Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, what he does. Usually, I think I'm fine with it here too.
A very distinctive, entertaining voice. It threw me at first.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing the Grinch talk like that was enough to throw me.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of the Christmas one is more narration and just sort of like the expressions of the Grinch, whereas here the Grinch is monologuing.
That's true. Yeah.
So that did throw me off, but I think by the end of the episode, I warmed up to it, and by the end, I really did enjoy his performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think they made a great choice there.
Yeah.
And also showing up is Max the dog,
Mm-hmm.
and Henry Gibson from
Yes.
from Laugh-In. And that was even more weird than seeing the Grinch.
I saw Henry Gibson's name. I'm trying to decide whether to use my Henry Gibson story now or save it for the potential of something else. But
for when we do Laugh-In.
yeah. Something where he shows up.
Well, I will say it must take remarkable self-discipline to hold a Henry Gibson story that long. That's up to you.
I'll go ahead.
It's a holiday. It's a special occasion. Let's hear it.
So my dad was in the Air Force, and later I remember, multiple times he told this story. We were watching something, and Henry Gibson was in it, and he's like, "Oh, I knew that guy in the Air Force." And nobody liked him.
Really?
That's what he said, yeah. And my brother did. We after Henry Gibson died, we looked up, and it does seem to check out, at least that he was in the Air Force during the same period that my dad was in the Air Force. And I think my dad was like in Air Force intelligence, I think, which probably automatically made him suspicious. But and it does seem to check out. So,
Wow.
Yeah, that's the whole story. But
Well,
this is a weird.
sullied the memory of Chuck Jones and Henry Gibson.
Gibson.
I mean,
Did you really think everybody liked Henry Gibson?
Well, I was going to point out the fact that I always thought his poems were lame on, his shtick where he'd come out and deliver the short poem.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm not going to say that because I don't want to pile on the guy.
Okay, yeah.
It's bad enough that he was almost fragged by his colleagues in the military, and the result of friendly fire, and now, I liked him well enough as Max.
Yeah.
But it was weird to have this dog like singing and
Right, yeah.
and having an explicit interior life and telling us of his feelings and his desires and everything. So that took some getting used to as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the whole special took some getting used to, I would think.
Yes.
Definitely a departure from the Christmas one.
Yeah. It is still in Whoville.
Mm-hmm.
Grinch lives on his mountain. But, there's some question. Maybe we'll come back to that at the end or something, but about exactly when this takes place.
Yeah, why don't we come back to that a little bit later. That's the controversy I think we should try to settle here.
And much, but not all of it is in rhyme.
Yes.
Much like Shakespeare. Portions of it are in poetry and portions aren't.
Yeah.
There didn't really seem to be any rhyme or reason for that. And it was pretty steadily rhyme until the main character, other than the Grinch, met the Grinch.
Yeah.
And then it became regular old dialogue.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure why, but...
No, I think maybe they got exhausted.
Is that what Shakespeare did? You know what? I'm tired of coming up with all these...
Even Dr.
iambic
Seuss.
pentameters. It's too much.
Yeah. I mean, Shakespeare usually indicated the status. Like if you're a prince or something, it would usually be in verse. And I think the lower people, the fools and things, would be in prose. That's not the case here.
Dr. Seuss was making no such statement.
Yeah, I can't imagine him getting tired of rhyming.
No,
Maybe he had something else going on, and someone else had to ghostwrite that portion.
Yeah, that would make more sense. I can't imagine Dr. Seuss not rhyming.
No.
You would think just every day he's annoying everybody by
Right.
rhyming when he goes to the drive-through. He's got to order a Big Mac and rhyme.
Right. Yeah. People don't know that, but he wrote that old Big Mac.
Oh, the special orders don't upset us.
No.
Or is that the Burger King one?
There was a Big Mac thing where they broke down all the parts of
Oh,
them.
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking, hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special orders, don't upset us. That might have been Burger King.
That's probably Burger King. Yeah.
Did Dr. Seuss write that too?
I think so, yeah.
Man, that guy was a genius.
He was, yeah.
I got a new respect for him.
You know what else he wrote?
What's that?
Where's the Beef?
Oh, man. The King. I've ignored those scores of books he wrote for years, but now I think I'm going to have to revisit his library now that I know that he did something really important.
He did start in advertising.
Yeah. Well, Whoville seems to me a very egalitarian place, not subject to issues of class and status. What do you think?
That sounds right.
Yeah. They all seem to have common purposes, common goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's fair to say as this begins, their goal is to just lock their doors and hide, right?
Yes. Yes, because the sour, sweet wind has returned.
The sour, sweet wind.
Yeah. And that means Grinch Night.
Yeah.
It means some other things with animals and rhymes. And I didn't write them down, and I don't remember exactly. There were some frackles or grackles or something.
I remember the Burger King jingles from 30 years ago, but I don't remember the lyrics of the Grinch special we just watched.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that.
Some things started growling, and that started something yowling. And
Father Dowling mysteries.
Yes.
Somewhere in there.
Right, yeah. At first I thought, oh, that annoys the Grinch. But no, it's the Grinch's time to descend from his mountain.
Yeah, it's like
to Whoville to go to the Grinch ball all by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know what. It seems like he's going to terrorize the town.
Yeah, it seems like his main thing is just to mess things up for everybody, right?
Yeah.
There's not really a clear direction, but it's kind of like a full moon or something of it. This wind summons him and crazes, it makes him crazed.
Also, it's a wonderful night for eyebrows.
Ah, yes.
It's a wonderful night for teeth. His eyebrows are. I didn't realize the Grinch's eyebrows are an entity of themselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in this special. A couple times they leave his head.
Yeah, there was a big.
There's a big sequence. Yeah.
Much more emphasis on them than in previous ones.
Yeah.
To be fair, the same thing happened in the Tom Snyder episode we talked about a couple seasons ago. But
That's true.
It's good to point it out. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a little more artfully done here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Grinch he's owning those eyebrows, isn't
Oh
he?
yeah.
He's saying, hey, it's a great night for it.
Yeah. So, and that means he tells Max to load up the paraphernalia wagon.
I like that. The paraphernalia wagon.
Which is a big wagon. And of course, poor Max has to drag this wagon down the mountain.
Of course, yeah.
He doesn't have to wear any dumb costumes this time, but
no, that's a plus.
Yeah.
I guess I'd probably rather wear antlers on my head than wear a ton of paraphernalia around my neck. But he's a hard worker.
He is.
Although he's not really happy though.
No. He's questioning his life choices.
Yeah.
Or his lack of life choices, I guess, would be the situation. And then down in Whoville, we spend most of our time with a family whose names, there's Josiah, he seems to be the patriarch.
Like the patriarch, yeah.
Euchariah, who I believe is his nephew.
Yeah.
And he's sort of our protagonist. And then there's also Mariah, and maybe some other IS.
Yeah.
And Josiah and Mariah are very much just stay inside, don't make a big deal. Euchariah, being a kid, he's got other ideas. We should at least call the Grinch Alert Center. Find out if the Grinch is coming. And they know the Grinch is coming because it's Grinch Night.
And the wind.
All the stuff, the rhyming.
Swirling,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sour sweet wind, all that.
Yeah.
It's a done deal. So they do call the Grinch Alert Center.
Doesn't hurt to make a call.
No, not at all. Anyway, the Grinch Alarm Center, excuse me, and that's pretty cool. That's very Seussian.
Yeah.
That's like a dude inside a mushroom.
Yeah.
And he's got like a telescope on these, scissor whatever you call those things.
Yeah, I dig the Grinch Alarm Center.
Yeah. And
the whole concept of it is pretty cool.
He's keeping an eye out and warning people.
Yeah.
And the Grinch is on his way. We know that. But then Euchariah has to go to the euphemism.
Yeah. The euphemism.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the euphemism is outside.
That is inconvenient.
Whoville has not developed indoor plumbing yet.
No, and one has to wonder if they can splurge on a Grinch Alarm Center and keep that functioning with a salaried guy.
Right.
Who's apparently redundant.
Yeah.
Maybe they should take some of that money on developing the infrastructure.
Yeah, that alarm center is very technological. They have telephones.
Yeah.
But they don't have indoor plumbing. Weird.
This kid really should have thought about this before Halloween. Like,
yeah.
Maybe around Labor Day he could have used the euphemism instead of waiting until right before everybody's ready to lock up.
Exactly. I mean, the adults say no one uses the euphemism on Grinch Night.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Which is probably why Grinch Night is so bad.
That's why they're so stressed out.
Yeah.
To be sure. Yeah.
And part of the problem, the more practical problem, is that it is really windy.
Yes.
And that's really what causes the trouble. When he tries to go to the euphemism, and he doesn't make it, and the wind blows him up the mountain.
Yeah. Boy, that's... I tell you, as a father that's been to a lot of kids' Little League games and things like that,
yeah,
that's a constant fear. If you're going to the euphemism during, in between periods or quarters, and you're worried that a strong wind's going to come and blow you away.
Yeah.
Something you just got to deal with. But
it is, yeah. It's amazing it doesn't happen more often.
Yes. Well, thankfully, euphemisms are sturdier a lot than they were back then.
Yeah, and usually indoors.
Yeah.
And this brings him to an encounter with, there's a Woozoo. I forget there was something with the Grinch and the Woozoo, and that caused some issues, which is some sort of like pink fuzzy thing. He lands by the Woozoo, and then he meets Max, and then, of course, the Grinch.
Yeah, I kind of like the Woozoo, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, just the look of it.
Yeah.
Although I never really did understand what the Woozoo's place was, but you know what?
No.
Maybe not everything has to be explained.
No.
It's one of the just delightful sidebars of the Seussiverse.
I think the Woozoo was the only thing that stayed out.
Yeah, because the Woozoo sticks around for a bit, too. So it's a fairly major character.
But Euchariah meets the Grinch, although he questions whether he's the Grinch. And to prove it, this is the second eyebrow situation. The Grinch, his eyebrows fly off his head and sort of form a bat shape and kind of attack Euchariah. Really, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's enough proof for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that won me over pretty quickly.
Yeah. It is a wonderful night for eyebrows.
It certainly was.
Yeah.
Well, the kid asked.
He did ask.
This kid's really questioning authority.
He is, which I'm not totally up on all the Whoville set stories, but I do, a little bit. And isn't the Who's tend to be a little bit timid, don't they?
That's my impression. Yeah.
I mean, the Horton hears the Who. Like, no one wants to believe Horton, I think, except for like Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Or that something's going to go wrong, like that Whoville's going to... At least in that version, that's the Whoville. It's like in a dandelion or whatever.
Yeah.
So Euchariah, he's different. He's questioning authority, and he's smart, and realizes he just needs to stall the Grinch.
Yeah, if he can divert him or stall him until the winds die down.
Yeah. Then
the Grinch will...
He has no choice but go home.
Go home, yeah. I mean, you can't... Even if you drag that whole wagon out...
Yeah.
Whatever you're going to do, you can't do it if that wind dies down.
Right. Because the Grinch is not going to want to be in Whoville when there are Who's around.
No, apparently not.
I guess that's his deal. He really wants to be in Whoville.
Yeah.
But he wants to be there alone.
Yeah, the Grinch Ball is like, a party of one, and he's excited about it. He sings about the Grinch Ball and everything, but it's not a group activity, I guess.
Yeah. Now, I like the way, like, they sort of present, they're cutting back and forth between him and the Who's and stuff, and it does give this air of, like, doom approaching. He's on his way to cause trouble.
Yes.
That kind of works.
Yeah, I think they set the mood actually pretty quickly. I think even in the beginning and like some of the credits and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they do a pretty good job, even though they don't really explicitly talk about Halloween, right? I mean,
no.
They don't even say it at all, maybe.
No, they don't.
But it sort of feels like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah. it's autumnal and yeah, all of that spooky. And so to stall him, Mikurai is basically scare me. If you're the Grinch, you can scare me. So the Grinch obliges, and then we get kind of this interesting and kind of long sequence.
Yeah.
He falls inside the paraphernalia wagon, I think.
Yeah.
And then there are all these ghosts.
He's like lured. Yeah.
Yeah, all sorts of weird, surreal kind of creatures and landscapes and and it goes on. And I can see that, like, if you were a little kid, that really being freaky.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not that dissimilar from the Red Baron sequence in
right.
Great Pumpkin, right?
Yeah.
In the sense that it kind of goes on a little bit too long.
Uh-huh.
Although this one there's less repetition. I think this one's actually better done.
Yeah.
But it just sort of I don't know. It's kind of jarring. I liked it.
I did too.
It seems to be like the showcase thing here, but it's something different. And there's some freaky visuals, and I don't know. Probably a lot of paraphernalia went into designing that sequence. I would say. Yeah. Of the paraphernalia wagon.
Mm-hmm. And it really puts over this Euchariah kid. Like, he endures all of that.
Yes, he does.
To help his fellow Who's. So despite being anti-authoritarian, he is still part of the Who community.
Yes, he has a strong sense of his people.
Yeah.
And he braves it out.
Yeah. And, it works.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
The wind stops. The Grinch's like, okay.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. But Max makes a choice. He leaves.
Yeah, which is funny. Like, he can just do that? Apparently he can.
Yeah, he figured it out.
I guess now he's got an option.
Yeah, he's like, oh, if this Who can outside of the box, so can I.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I don't know where he goes, but
I guess I kind of assumed he just went back to Whoville and just
maybe he becomes Max or
like follow
Euchariah's pet.
That's what I was thinking, but
yeah. And the Grinch seems a little bummed out about that.
Yeah, I do like that the fact that, and this is where Hans Conried was really good.
Yeah.
At the end, the Grinch sort of looks at the camera and he says, I don't know the exact word, but he says, that wind's going to return and I'll be back. Grinch Night will come back and I'll be back. And he just does this evil laugh.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was kind of like the scariest part of the whole thing, just his vow to be back.
Right.
And it doesn't actually end the special because I think they go back to like Whoville after that and some joyous music and stuff. Mm-hmm. But if they had ended on that would have been like a really kind of unsettling way to end the special, because I thought that was kind of. Let me put it this way: if I had watched that as a kid, I'll bet that moment where he says that I'll be back and does that evil laugh, that probably would have. That's almost to me like the Margaret Hamilton and the getting all big and the crystal ball thing in the Wizard of Oz scene that always freaked me out.
Yeah.
So that was pretty impressive. I think that alone was reason to see this special.
Yeah. Now, I wonder though. I mean, the Who's have more knowledge now, so maybe next time they'll be like, "That's not a big deal."
Yeah.
So why don't you come back?
Yeah, they'll be.
We'll still be inside because it's windy, but
Yeah, we're not gonna be all neurotic about it or anything.
Yeah, exactly. We're just it's the windy day.
Yeah. That poor guy in the Grinch Alarm Center, he's gonna be out of a job though.
Yeah.
And actually, remember how stunned he was? Wasn't he like surprised he never Thorn he would have or I forget the weird rhyme he used or something like that, but
yeah,
he's quite surprised that the Grinch just turns around and walks away.
Yeah, I guess that was a gamble by Euchariah.
Yeah, so I guess usually in the past the Grinch just has time to just show up and wreak havoc.
Yeah,
and then go packs everything back up with Max and goes back home.
Yeah,
but this time he doesn't even get to do that.
And then the Who's rebuilt.
Yeah.
Do you think in Whoville, what would the Who be like in Whoville?
The Who be like?
The band The Who. Yes. They might be looked upon much like as the Grinch is.
Perhaps, but I bet maybe Keith Moon would be a great Dr. Seuss character. I mean, even his name seems like fit for Dr. Seuss. Right?
Yeah.
There's so many rhymes you could do with him.
Mm-hmm.
His facial expressions.
Yeah. Entwistle also sounds a little Seussian.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like Entwistle sounds like that would be like something the Who's play, like that. That's an instrument that they do. The others, I don't know. Pete Townsend.
Yeah.
I don't know. There'd be something about all the smashing and bashing and dashing.
Right. Yeah.
He's sure to get a lashing.
Rehashing.
Yes.
I like Pete yeah.
Yeah, Roger Daltrey, he'd just be there for the gig.
Yeah.
I like to think that if Whoville's going to, meet their downside guarantee, they'll show up and do the show.
Yeah. He's a pro.
Yeah. Yeah. I would pay to see that, probably.
Right.
The Who and Whoville.
The Who and someone out there put that book together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting Halloween special.
Yeah.
I wish there were more of these Halloween specials, and we can keep looking, like you said, if the listeners know of any.
Right.
Love to know. But I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
However, I will say this: the story is not as strong as the Christmas Grinch.
No.
To me, this special seems like a collection of sequences, a collection of musical numbers, more than it does a real story. Whereas the Christmas one, everything was around the story, and like there was a clear goal. Mm-hmm. Like the Grinch's objectives were more obvious. There was a little bit more warmth to it, and just the fact that the Grinch has like a character arc.
Yeah.
The fact that he changes and everything, and you have that like ending.
Right.
To me, I mean, you can't really compare to that. This is more of a as much as I like the way they ended it. It just seems kind of incomplete. It seems much less substantial than the Christmas one.
Yeah, and also I wasn't really into the music.
Yeah, there not a lot really stands out as far as the music to me. Now, maybe it's because I haven't seen it 100 times like I have the Christmas one.
Right. I mean, the Christmas one really only has the one song, right?
No,
it has two songs. Well, I was thinking of the one at the end when they're all happy.
Oh yeah, but and then the You're a Mean one.
Yeah. Yeah, which I guess keeps coming back through. This music was it was fine. It was more. It seemed kind of loud. Yeah. Like hard to follow.
Yeah, I like the visuals in this and elements of it and the overall tone, but yeah, the story was just not there compared to the Christmas one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
However, I still think it should be dusted off and shown around Halloween. Why not?
Yeah, something needs to be.
I don't know. I'm curious. Maybe if I'm kind of wondering how my kids would react to it. I think they might be a little unsettled by some of the elements and some of the scarier elements.
Yeah.
I do like that there's a euphemism in this. Anytime a euphemism shows up in an animated special, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that in Charlie Brown specials, but it took Dr. Seuss to break that barrier. It was really...
I'm going to assume Charlie Brown has a lot of problems with the euphemism.
Yeah, you think so?
It's the way his life goes.
Yeah. That doesn't work out for him either.
No.
So...
Somebody clogged the euphemism again.
I mean, really, the pioneers of television in the 1970s, Archie Bunker and Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
For taking TV into the 20th century, finally.
Yeah.
So, more power to them. So that's a big plus too. Mm-hmm. Henry Gibson was fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's well done.
Yeah. And I noticed IMDb listed Mel Blanc and Stan Freberg as uncredited for doing Monsters.
Yeah, I think wasn't
Paul Frees
in there too?
I think so. Yeah.
So,
and the Mellow Men.
Mellow Men.
I don't know who the Mellow Men are.
Huh.
Members have included Thurl Ravenscroft, Bill Lee, Bill Cole, Max Smith, Bob Hamlin, Bob Stevens. I guess maybe they were like a audio crew. Uh-huh. Maybe all of these guys were also part. Paul Winchell also was Monsters.
There you go. And Hal Smith from Andy Griffith Show and many Hanna-Barbera shows of the 60s was the voice of the Patriarch.
Yeah.
Josiah was it?
Uh-huh. And Irene Tedrow, I don't know.
I believe, was she not...
There's a picture of her from Mary Tyler Moore. She played Aunt May on the Spider-Man TV show.
Oh, okay.
Sold.
So I would give this a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Shall we get to the other controversy here?
We should. Okay,
so the question you might be asking yourself, dear listeners, 13 years before the special premiered, there was the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now this shows up, and we've explained pretty much how the story goes in the general sense of menace. The town of Whoville feels when threatened by the Grinch. So the question is this a sequel or a prequel.
Right.
And apparently, this has divided. This has divided the TV audience for years, Mike.
Yeah.
However, I have a strong opinion on this.
I have a pretty strong opinion too.
I think it's obvious, actually.
Yeah.
And there's maybe one piece of evidence that contradicts it, but I think you'd have to ignore too many other things to believe that theory. So, do you want me to just say what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think that this is clearly a prequel to the Christmas one.
I agree.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. On
Okay.
the one hand, I'd like to have some argument, but on the
Well, we
other,
can argue with the
after
people
earlier statements.
who aren't here.
Yes.
So I know for me, the two things that make it a prequel. One, I guess that's one is the contradiction. The Max part is what makes it confusing. Like Max leaving.
Yeah. That's why that seems
That's
to
why
be the one
people
piece
think
of evidence that most people cling to.
And the arguments against that, which I would go with, are either the Max in the Christmas special is a different Max, seems plausible, or the Max came back or got caught again.
Yeah.
And certainly if the Grinch is still Grinchy, I could see him going out and capturing Max. And
Yeah.
Max actually calls himself a slave in his song or his monologue or something. So, but the Grinch still being a Grinch is really all the evidence I need, because if it's a sequel, then it ruins the Christmas special.
Exactly.
The whole point of the Christmas special is his heart growing.
Right.
And this isn't Marvel comics. It's not Magneto going back to being a villain or something. It's a beloved story where someone learns to love.
Right.
Why take that away?
Yeah. In within the story itself, I could almost see him reverting if like any of the other characters had commented on it. Mm-hmm. But clearly, the town of Whoville, they have a Grinch Alarm Center.
Yeah.
Why would they have a Grinch Alarm Center and all this tradition, and nobody even thinks about, hey, why don't we just, give them a nice meal again and some roast beef or whatever, and then we'll get off our backs.
Right.
To me...
Where's Cindy Who?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it much easier to accept that Max struck out on his own, failed, and came back, or that it's a different Max, which that really intrigues me.
Yeah. You could also make the argument that it's a parallel universe.
Okay, wait a minute now. I want to hear this argument. We are big fans of parallel universes on this show.
There's another Seussiverse with where the Grinch his heart didn't grow 3 sizes.
Right.
So there's no continuity with that.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen some other time. Maybe it'll grow 4 sizes too big and he'll have a heart attack.
Yeah. That'll be St. Patrick's Day after he eats all that corned beef.
Right, yeah. corn beast.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Or there's not actual continuity in Dr. Seuss stories, and it doesn't matter at all.
Oh no, let's not.
That's not.
Let's not go there, please.
Right.
No, I like the way you said it. Why ruin the Christmas special? I think you really have to, just seizing on that one bit of information that Max goes off. I mean, I guess there's some other things you could say, but I mean, come on.
Right.
It just makes no sense that nobody would know any other way to interact with the Grinch.
Yeah.
And that the Grinch would have just shown no sign of change whatsoever.
Yeah.
Since the transformative events of the Christmas special. I think this is clearly early Grinch.
Yeah.
It's a prequel. There's no doubt about it.
Could it be not just early Grinch, but an earlier Grinch? Like the Grinch's father?
Oh, I see. You mean much like it's not the same Max. Maybe it's not the same Grinch.
Right.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And clearly the Grinch came from somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't want to know where.
No.
We don't need that prequel. And it's just Grinches look like that, behave like that, name their dogs Max.
You know what? But this Grinch has a different voice. I mean, I kind of like your theory that I think you've solved it. Yeah. To people that don't want to to that
right.
Are bothered by everything, that might be the easiest explanation. It's a different Grinch, a different Max.
Yeah.
But it takes place in the same Seussiverse.
Yes. I would still say prequel because I think once the Grinch changes with the Christmas thing,
Yeah.
that further generations of Grinches would already be on the road to being good.
Yeah. I think the Christmas one breaks the cycle.
Yeah.
At least I hope so.
Right.
I mean, maybe you could do something where, there's some conflict because, like, that Grinch's son doesn't come home for Christmas or something, and they argue or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they don't get along and they bicker.
Right.
But they're still not going to ruin Christmas.
Yeah. And then, or you could do one where that Grinch's son or daughter, is just too consumed with work.
Yeah, that's right.
Have the Christmas spirit.
Yes, and they have to learn to make
Right.
time for family because that's what's truly important.
That's right.
But the difference would be, though, that there still be that structure of Christmas being important and not something to be discredited.
Yes.
The idea would be like, well, okay, within Christmas, let's make this work, and it's an affront to Christmas that this Grinch is working so hard and neglecting the finer things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's another one I want to see.
That'll be on Hallmark.
Yeah.
Now, there is a new version of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas coming out in theaters this Christmas.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Seems like it's kind of run its course. I don't know if there's a need for this.
I don't know if there is either, but they're doing it.
I mean,
I guess the Seuss estate is happy with what Illumination or whoever's
yeah.
been doing with these, and I wonder. That's not exactly a dense story either, so I just wonder about because now I guess I said we don't want to find out where the Grinch came from, but I guess that Jim Carrey one actually tells you. I think to expand that they gave him some sort of origin.
Yeah, I mean, I guess after all, the original one is 50 years old, so
Yeah,
I guess you could do something new with it, and it might be very successful.
it probably will.
I mean, you put something out with any kind of name recognition around the holidays, people are going to go see it. So,
yeah.
but
I mean, I've seen the trailer. I don't remember liking or disliking what I saw.
I haven't seen it. I imagine it'll be competent.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
I don't know if it's essential. I mean, me probably I'll be curled up the Christmas season, watching the Bears slept through Christmas, or the Family Circus Christmas.
Yes, the Leprechaun's
Those-
Christmas Gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those timeless holiday traditions.
Yeah,
But to each their own. If you want to go out in a theater and watch something besides TV, hey, bless you.
Yeah.
Not going to be a Grinch about it.
right. So you have kids, of course. We mentioned them earlier in
Yes.
this show.
Yes.
Do they have their Halloween costumes planned yet?
They have ideas, but it hasn't. I don't think it's quite gone past the conceptual stage. Do you have something in mind?
For your kids? No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just curious. I know you have some ideas
I do.
for
I do.
yourself.
Yes, I plan to dress as a euphemism for Halloween, which I think will be a real hit at the office party. Although there's some risks associated with that kind of costume, but I'm willing to take it. I think it'll be worth it.
Right. You might want an out of order sign. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, that's a good touch.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
Right. Do you think kids ever dress up as Dr. Seuss characters? Maybe the Cat in the Hat.
I think the Cat in the Hat, maybe, especially with there's a PBS show in recent years. I think I've seen Cat in the Hat, and I've seen the Thing 1 and Thing 2 costumes are pretty big. I think.
Like parents will do that with their like little kids sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For the super younger set, and we should mention hopefully our 2 to 11-year-old demographic is enjoying this episode.
Yeah. Now, 2-year-olds definitely watch with a parent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a little intense sometimes.
The 8 to 11-year-olds, you might be okay.
Yeah.
But still, parental guidance is suggested.
Right. Yeah. Also suggested make calling the bathroom a euphemism. The euphemism, make that a thing in the real world.
Yeah.
Not just to our 2 and 11-year-olds, but to everyone.
Yeah, let's all commit to that.
Yeah.
Let's make that a plan, shall
Right. Yeah.
we? I will do my part. And we're not kidding about that, folks. We will
No.
do our part. Regardless of, or especially if nobody else knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. But I bet people would. As soon as he said it, I laughed because I knew what he meant. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the phrasing, I guess. Saying I have to go to the euphemism. It just,
Right. It gives it away.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I look forward to busting that out.
And I as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Seuss,
Yes.
for how everything you contributed to culture, including a euphemism for the bathroom.
Yes, which, after consuming all those fast food products that you made the jingles for, we will definitely make use of the euphemism.
That's right. Well, do you have anything else?
Just say Happy Halloween to everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and be on the lookout for more holiday-themed episodes when we can do them. But it was nice to take a look back at Halloween of this era, and always looking for more opportunities to expand the kind of things we talk about. And I liked giving Halloween its due, because I think we can agree that it's not quite getting it from TV.
And hopefully you don't, when you're trick-or-treating, you don't get a rock.
Correct. This episode brought to you by the Grinch Alarm Center, area code 519006. Don't stood there like sticks. This episode also brought to you by the euphemism. This episode also brought to you by Delicious Roast Beast. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network Shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Battle of the Network Shows.